Welcome to another edition of Wealthy and Wise. I'm your host, Adam Kintigh, and we have a very special guest with us today. I have been serving as executive corporate analyst. I've been serving our NCH clients for many, many years, and there's such confusion about payroll, how to do it, when to do it, all of these things. So we thought, why not bring in the absolute expert? We have with us today Chelsea Castaldo here with ADP, and she spent the better part of almost a decade now supporting and serving clients in payroll. And Chelsea, give us just a little background about yourself and how you got started in payroll and some of the things that that you love about working with ADP.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and thank you for the intro. Like Adam said, I've been with ADP for a little bit over 8 years now, so one of the great things about ADP is really there is just a product for everyone, right? Just one person starting up their business today looking to do something on the smaller side, all the way up to thousands of employees. Really, we serve any need. So when I was looking for a company that I wanted to stay with, it was really a company that really helped their clients and was a support for them outside of just the payroll piece of itself. And then of course, working with great partners like NCH.
Excellent. Well, thank you. So as we get toward the end of the year, I run into so many clients. They have formed an LLC. They have not operated things like they're supposed to. And as we get to the end of the year, people start to realize we have to take a reasonable salary from our company. And oftentimes setting up the payroll, we have 940s, 941s, your state and federal payroll taxes that have to be withheld in pay. And talk to me about the process of what ADP does. If I was to do it myself, I would do this. And how does ADP make that process easier for us?
Most definitely. So yes, it is an IRS standard that of course they would have to take a payroll of their own of a reasonable salary. So the nice thing about that with ADP is if someone's to do their payroll on their own, they have to calculate everything at rates that they would need to make sure were accurate and correct and up to date. Then they would have to take those funds and file them with the IRS and the state in which they live and possibly the state in which they work, depending on how they operate. And with ADP, we're actually going to calculate those taxes for them, take the money, deposit them to the IRS and the correct state, and it just is a full peace of mind, right? So we take that liability, put it on ADP shoulders, and make sure that one, the client is taken care of, and two, they have the peace of mind that it's being done properly.
Excellent. So one of the things that I think people miss is in doing payroll, we have to do the Social Security and Medicare, the state payroll taxes, federal payroll taxes, but also there's unemployment. So tell me about that. What's the generally unemployment needs to be paid, even if it's just me. Generally, if I'm the only employee, I don't have to have workman's comp, but I do have to have unemployment. And how does that fit in?
Sure. Yeah. So now most people are used to being an employee. They've paid Social Security and Medicare before, but now they're wearing both hats. They're the employee and the employer, and they forget that the business actually has federal and state taxes of their own. So the federal piece is the business matches the Social Security and Medicare with the employee, and then the state piece depends on the state. So like you mentioned, here in Nevada, we have state unemployment and the modified business tax. Most people don't know that. And it is different depending on each state. So we make sure that those rates are calculated properly, that each state is done properly, and we take it out at time of processing and deposit them to the state and the IRS on the business level and on the employee side to make sure they're taken care of on all angles for the business.
That's excellent. Now, I've worked with a lot of clients over the past that as they are getting their payroll set up, they have to do quarterly pay ahead on certain taxes, whether it's the unemployment or the workman's comp. These are things that have to be paid in advance. And tell us about what helps our business owners with cash flow when it comes to how you're able to maneuver those fees and expenses to help our customers to minimize that big outlay for these quarterly taxes, basically, the quarterly charges they get.
Awesome, yeah. So a big piece of being a business owner obviously is cash flow, right? You're a new business, your funds are going in so many different directions, cash flow is tight. So let's say you're processing or just taking a monthly payroll. Normally, at the end of the month or the end of the quarter, you would have to pay out 3 months worth of taxes at that time. You can think of it with ADP as like little bites rather than that big chunk at the end of the quarter. So you're spreading out that cash flow across the quarter. And again, ADP is doing it for you. So you know that it's being done properly, on time, and it's those small tax deposits rather than that large amount due at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, it can be absolutely devastating when people realize when they miss those things, the penalties are severe. So it's bite-sized chunks on a lot of these pieces that are in there. And if it was just me and I was setting up ADP to do my payroll, do you do direct deposit and send me a pay stub, or how does that look and how's that process work?
Good question. Yeah. So one more piece on the cash flow is you mentioned workers' comp. Workers' comp is something that can be extremely challenging when it comes to cash flow. If you have workers' comp outside of ADP in a payroll by payroll situation, at the end of the year, they audit the company, you provide all of the payroll reports, and at that time, most businesses end up owing into the policy, and it can be devastating amounts where you have to go on a payment plan even. With ADP, we calculate it on a payroll by payroll basis. So again, it all goes back to being in compliance and easing cash flow so that it mitigates that entire audit process at year end and you never end up owing into the policy. So that's something that is just peace of mind. But back to your question, yes, as far as the setup process goes, if it's just one person paying themselves, that's a very easy, very straightforward payroll. But when you think about ADP, I don't want you to only think payroll. That is the meat and potatoes of what ADP does, but we really handle anything as far as the life cycle of an employee. So from hiring all the way to firing is really where ADP's niche comes in.
So a lot of times as you build out your business, you have maybe starting with one employee and expanding that out to 5, 10, 50 employees. And you start getting these notices. As soon as you form a company, you start getting these notices in the mail for payroll posters that you have to have up, unemployment board, and a lot of times these are kind of a scam. You need to pay $125 for a labor poster. But when you actually have employees or you have a physical location, they show up 9 to 5, there are compliance rules. How do you help with that?
Sure. Yeah. So when people set up a business, they don't set up a business to all of a sudden become a compliance and HR expert, right? And that's where we come in. There's so much liability that comes with having employees, and obviously business owners should be spending their time doing revenue generating activities. They don't need to know that, hey, in the state of California, you have to do a sexual harassment training with every employee that you hire within 30 days. That's just one fun fact, right? And it's different for every single state and every single different employee count threshold. So that's the nice thing about with ADP is we truly grow with the company and make sure that, of course, their people are getting paid, direct deposit, live check, pay cards, whatever it may be, but that also the business is protected from an HR standpoint as far as hiring. So we offer ZipRecruiter. It's built into their packages. As far as benefits go, you name it, it's built into the package so that it's a true infrastructure for the business owner so that they don't have to go out and hire an HR specialist or go on Google and try and figure out what's going on today. That's where we come in.
That's awesome. So helping with the employment law side of things, supporting them for human resources effectively, but also do you offer insurance? Because it's such a big topic right now. Is insurance for me, as not only I just have myself and my spouse or my kids, but also if we have employees, being able to offer competitive benefits to these people as well. And it's, I guess, the finding out where to get the best deal on insurance, the most comprehensive and things like that. How does ADP support our clients in insurance?
Yeah, so we have, our platform is specifically designed to make sure that it can incorporate benefits along with, if it's just me on the payroll and it's just me and my husband needing benefits, of course we have that available, but a big piece of benefits is also benefit administration. So the onboarding of an employee, getting them enrolled in the benefits. So ADP is very competitive when it comes to the market, and then also we take care of the full benefits administration piece of it as well for the compliance aspect of the benefits.
So you're able to actually offer insurance in some states, and I think in other states that you offer brokers, competitive brokers, if ADP themselves don't offer the insurance. But how is that going to benefit me if I'm looking at the ADP health insurance option versus going through my Allstate or one of my car insurance companies.
Yeah. So the nice thing about ADP is obviously we have large buying power, right? Depending on the state, to your point, we're able to go out to market, shop out most of the carriers to find you the lowest rate. And then the magic word is integration. Everything's integrated with the payroll. So yes, it's going to make sure that you have the lowest rates available to you in the market. And then two, make sure it's fully integrated with the payroll and all the HR aspects of it.
That's awesome. And we also look at retirement planning, because one of the big pieces that I'm always reminding my clients is the power of tax-free and tax-deferred growth and setting up 401k plans for you, or we do the solo 401ks or the traditional 401k plans with the employees. How does ADP help with those 401k plans? Because I got to put my paycheck, I have to make those deposits into my custodian, whoever that might be, and that can be a daunting task if you've never done it before. How does ADP support that?
Yeah, so as far as retirement goes, of course, we want to make sure everyone has a paycheck now and a paycheck later. So we set up those deductions in the payroll system so that they're automatically calculated out at time of processing, and then we would move the retirement funds to the plan and also handle the full administration of the plan. So again, just taking it off of your plate, peace of mind, you know it's being done properly.
That's awesome. So most of the time when we talk about payroll, we think of the boring side of it. But like you said, in California, there's rules that have to be followed, and having a team like yours, making sure that we're following those laws. I think that employment litigation was actually the top litigation in the country. Is when you hire people, that is a huge, huge risk. And making sure the payroll is done right, the benefits are offered properly. We have the sexual harassment training or the employee handbooks, all those services that ADP can support. Is there anything that I'm missing of those great services that ADP supports our clients in?
Yeah. So I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head, obviously ADP expert here, but just to touch on the services a little bit more, again, hiring to firing. So recruitment, full onboarding of the employee. Once they're recruited, all of the policies that the business wants the employee to adhere by, such as job descriptions, the employee handbook, a live HR specialist that they can actually reach out to that is SHRM certified with any type of questions. So, hey, my employee has COVID, how do I handle it? You have someone to reach out to, it's a legal timestamp, and you have proper documentation. So again, just full life cycle of an employee is really what we specialize in.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for taking time out of your day. I hope you learned something. Reach out to NCH. We have a great partnership with ADP. I think over the last almost 10 years now that ADP has supported our clients, and I think that I have had one issue, which was simple miscommunication, but ADP has just does such a great job with great service for each and every one of our clients. So reach out to NCH, call our office, and talk with one of our experts. They will get you connected with Chelsea and her staff, and let us support you. We've got a limited amount of time to get these payroll runs done before December 31st, and it's going to be every year. Get these systems in place, make your day easy. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.